A very good afternoon and a warm welcome to everyone to the 2 days National Students Development Program on the different phases of prototype development, organized by the Department of Electronics and Communication Engineering, IIMT College of Engineering, in collaboration with Institutions Innovation Cell, IIMT College of Engineering. Thank you, Speaker Sir. You have been with us for the last 2 days, and this being the fourth session and the final session of the different stages of prototype development. We have been hearing from the students regarding various queries, and you also have been answering them well, sir. Thank you very much for inspiring the students and giving them a new light, sir. And for today's final session, this will be the fourth session, sir. As we all know that this session concludes this program by the final product design phase. And to highlight it, and I would like to request all the participants to please fill the feedback form and participate in the quiz, which is to be organized after conclusion of this session. May I request Speaker Sir to please continue, sir? Dr. Umesh Datta, please. Sir, audio mute. Audio is mute.
I hope I'm audible now.
Audible, sir. Audible, sir.
Great. Very warm welcome to you all. Good afternoon. And we are now coming to the end session of our training program. And this one is on product design. So a quick recap of what we have covered so far. Session 1 was on problem formulation. Session 2 is where we discussed about a new project, Lotto, where we were able to see how that project was vital for saving the life of people from electric shocks, and especially a gadget which can fit into the industry. Moving further, I think the third session that we conducted, the one which we did in the morning, it was all about the analysis, the need analysis of innovation, where I was able to give you a clear-cut idea how you have to analyze the needs of a statement and finally come up with a prototype, a rapid prototype, a prototype which can be designed with the help of a 3D printing machine. And finally, I gave you an example of a robot which was supposed to do a particular task. So there was a challenge in hand, and then the bot was able to solve that challenge, right? So we were able to see how that loose or ugly prototype looks like, because the session's topic was ugly prototype. So it was not a fancy robot. It was not a industry level robot or industry grade robot. It was a robot which was designed by the students, and we were able to actually see in action by the developers, those who have developed it in-house. So I was able to show you that story. And now we have to take the discussion further, and we have to understand what it takes to create a product. And once the product is available with you, what are the do's and don't do's, what you should keep in mind, and how you need to proceed further once you have a product in hand. There was a question also which was asked in the previous session by one of the students, that I have a product in hand, what should I do next? So I think all those questions are there which we need to answer. And for that, we have planned this particular session where I will be discussing with you specifically about the product development phase, right? So the prototyping is done, the proof of concept has been established. Now you know that, okay, your product is functioning well, your specifications are met by the prototype, your learnings are there with you, right? And now you are in a position that you want to take it to the production stage, which means now it is going to enter into a stage which will take it to the market, right? So we have to discuss all the stages of the product development. We have to understand the do's and non-do's. We have to see the best practices also. The mistakes that generally the startups commit when they get into the product development stage. We have to understand all those things and discuss point by point, so that we all can take away the lessons from what we have from this particular session and try to incorporate them as per our needs in the startups that you are planning to launch in the near future. Or maybe if you're going to kickstart the journey of your next idea or innovation, then in that case, this production stage analysis and steps that I will be discussing with you will really prove to be a crucial thing for you to make sure that your idea and your product reaches the market in a short time span, right? So this is the most important thing, guys. And without wasting time, I will be sharing a presentation deck with you where we'll be discussing about the product development stages. Once we are done with that session, the best practices that we are going to discuss, once we are done with that, I'll again take you to one case study, right? Because every session which I presented to you, I try to make sure that I give you one case study of different domains so that you have a fair bit of idea about the problem and the kind of solution which has been proposed, the entire journey, because all of you may not be working in the same area, right? So let me also tell you one of the mindset that I had when I was planning for these sessions. One was like take a single domain product from start to finish line and give you the entire journey, keeping in view that product into picture, right? So that was one mindset that I had when I was planning. Then I thought, if you are attending the session, all of you will not be having the same taste, right? So if I design something which is of AI and IoT category, you may not be interested in that. If I design something in robotics, you may not be interested in that. You want something else. So we need to make sure that if we design something, we design it in such a way that fits into your scheme of things. So if you have 4 sessions, if I give you 4 different projects, maybe one of them will be in your radar and you may like it, and the learnings from there will really be handy for you. So that was the mindset. So today in the 4th session, I will be presenting something of virtual reality field. VR is another field which is quite popular these days. It's a part of industrial 4th revolution. The technology is really revolutionizing the world of the industry. And today, most of the industries, they rely on the capabilities of VR and AR. So we need to understand one sample problem, one sample project from this particular field so that we all can see what opportunities this field has. And at the same time, if we have a product which is in the lab stage as of now, or maybe a project which you do in the lab, and now if you want to take it forward and you want to take it to the corporate world, you want to take it to the market, then in that case, what things it will follow in terms of its cycle from lab to market, right? So in university, we say from lab to market, because ultimately the ideas are born in the classroom and you convert them into reality by working in the laboratory of your university, your college, and finally you take it to the market, right? So from classroom to lab and from lab to market, I think these are the phases which are important from the university's ecosystem point of view, from the college ecosystem point of view. So from students' point, I think this is the most important thing, right? How do you take it from lab where you designed the prototype into the market in the form of a product? Okay. So this will be the flow of my talk. Initially, a presentation deck will be given to you, and later on, we'll analyze one case study from the field of virtual reality, VR, right? So without wasting time, I think I will be sharing my screen with you from my PC, and I'll show you the presentation deck. We'll go through each and every slide in detail, and then we'll take it further in the form of a project. Allow me some time so that I can share my screen with you guys. Give me a moment. Can you see my screen now?
Yes, sir.
Great. So, guys, as you can see on the screen, this is the 5-stage innovation process that we have discussed so far. Stage 1 is all about finding the ideas. Stage 2 is where we do all the preparation, right? Stage 3 is the innovation stage. We can say that the fourth stage is where we take it to the market and expand. And stage 5 is where the learnings are there and we do renovation, which means the product is going to be retailored as per the customer's feedback. And finally, you come up with the next version of the product. If we consider the 7-step process of innovation, we categorize it into the following 7 steps: idea generation, idea screening and evaluation, idea testing, business analytics, product creation, test marketing, and finally the launch. Okay. So as of now, if you see what we are discussing, we are actually discussing the step number 5 of this 7-step innovation process, where we are going to discuss about the product creation, right? So we're not targeting the marketing strategies as of now, right? So we'll be discussing around the product, which means step number 5. So product design is job which is performed by the specialists, which have the experience of different fields, which have the competence and expertise of different fields, right? In case of complex product, right, in that particular case, you may involve dozen of professionals. Someone may be a graphic designer, someone may be an animator or a UX designer, someone will be handling the marketing job, someone will be handling the analyst job, and someone is going to do the research of human behavior, etc. So what does it mean? It means that once you have a idea in hand and you are trying to develop a product around it, then in that case you need a big team. You need a team where you have specialists, you have people who are having competence, who have expertise in their own areas. And generally, when a company undertakes any new product design, then in that case they ensure that they have each and everything checked, which means the team should be a team of experts from different fields so that they can actually capture the market in a proper way. It should not be something where you just try to work on the idea, convert it into some product and take it to the market. So you should have a proper strategy. There should be a guy who will be doing the graphics for you, there should be a guy who will be doing the marketing strategy for you, you need to have a guy who will be doing the user behavior analysis and so on. There are various checkpoints that you need to ensure if you want to really be a serious player in the market. Yes, from the startup's point of view, you may not have a big team, but in those cases when you have a startup coming into picture and they are trying to bring their product into the market, and in that case maybe you have some parallelism. Maybe you have a particular person who will be doing the job of graphic designer and marketing both. Maybe you will have a guy who will be doing the strategy planning as well as uh, taking the customer feedback and reading their behavior. So I think in startups, when you have shortage of manpower, maybe 3 or 4 guys taking on the entire project and trying to bring it into the market, then in that case maybe there will be certain overlaps. But from completeness point of view, you need to make sure that you have a good checklist with you. You have a good checklist with you and you somehow try to fit in all the job roles which are required into the scenario that you have with you, right? So in a complex multi-step process at the junction of engineering, management, and graphics, right? So this is exactly what we are talking about. So there is a little bit of engineering involved, there's a little bit of management involved, there are a lot of graphic design efforts which are required. So product design itself is an expertise job, and it is not just single expertise. Yes, there is an engineering expertise which is required for developing the product. At the same time, bringing into the market, strategies, designing the digital portfolio, everything is going to matter, guys. So product design provides a comprehensive understanding of what the final product would look like, feel like, what tasks and what tools it will solve. Okay. So product design phase is going to give you a comprehensive understanding of the final product. Okay. So the look and feel, the task that it is going to perform, right? And what exactly will be the problems that it is going to solve, right? So product design is the umbrella where everything is going to get covered. Okay. When we talk about product design, formally it can be divided into 3 fundamental components. One is appearance. Appearance is like when you see the product, you decide yes or no, right? If you if you ask me, once you go to the shopping and you want to purchase something, let us say you want to go and want to look at some sport gears with you for you, right? Maybe you are going to buy a t-shirt or a trouser or a cap. You go and what do you see first? With your eyes you see the appearance. How does it look like? The first thing is appearance, always, because you have eyes, you are going to open it and you are going to watch it, and then you have to decide. Your mind is going to first take the decision on the basis of what you see, right? So appearance is going to matter, right? Once you get convinced that, okay, I want a black color t-shirt, or I want a gray color t-shirt, this is something which I wanted and it looks cool to me, then you go ahead and you try to touch it. So maybe if you talk about functionality, yes, one thing is like, yes, it should be a t-shirt, obviously, because you're going to wear it, right? So functionality has to be there. So quality is the third parameter apart from that. So you touch it and you try to feel that, okay, fine, it is a good cotton fabric and I'm going to go for it. So appearance is the first thing. Then comes the functionality. In case you are going for a techie gadget or a iPad or an iPhone, you go and you ask the, salesperson that, okay, show me the specifications. Show me the demo, or maybe the dummies which are available over there. You try to use the phone over there and try to see the experience and functionalities, camera quality, and all those kind of things, right? So appearance, functionality, and then the quality. The most important thing, because as a consumer, if you are paying a heavy price for any product, quality is something which you want, right? So if you go to the market and purchase something in the market, what do you say? Give me the best quality, right? Or in Hindi, if you speak, क्या बोलते हो? You say that, okay, बढ़िया quality का देना, अच्छा देना, right? Something like that. So you always come up and say that, okay, we want something of supreme quality, right? So that's what your expectation is. So any product that is designed by the company, it has three fundamental components into it. One is appearance, the second is functionality, and the third one is quality, right? So when we talk about this product design process, the production design process, right? So in that case, you have to discuss the plans of launching a new product with your team, right? So where you do brainstorming, right? After you do the brainstorming, you have certain pain points which will come out, the desires of the consumer, and you want to solve their problems, right? So defining pain points which you are trying to solve for the consumer and solution for their elimination, right? That is your achievement. Okay. So if they have a pain point, you have a product, you're going to solve their problem, it's your achievement, right? Developing strict product requirements, which means the technical manual, the documentation. So you will be coming up with proper documentation of your product, which may include its specification, which may include a clear-cut documentation regarding how to use that particular product and so on. So if you go and purchase anything in electronics category, you go and purchase microwave oven or a refrigerator or a TV or even a mobile phone, you get a booklet kind of a thing. You may not read it because you are habitual of actually using those machines, so you need not to read the instructions. But actually, any product manufacturer, they give you some sort of a manual, right? Even if you purchase something which is of 100 rupee right now in the market, you get some sort of technical specification or sort of a document that how to use that product, the technical documentation, or maybe how to use do's and non-do's, hazards, take care, and all those kind of things are written over there. So developing strict product requirements, the documents, is something which is very, very important. Splitting the product implementation process into iterations, because you want to make sure that you do it in a proper way. So iterations are always involved. Even if the product is launched, then also iterations are done and you have a new product which is launched by the same company under the same brand, right? So even you talk about Apple phones. So now you have the latest series of Apple. Every year they come up with new series, and the last series is like, it looks like so old, right? And they keep on iterating. They keep on adding new features in that same series. Apple iPhone 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and so on. So so it's like the same series is going on. The iterations are going on in the product. New features are getting added, and yes, that's what really help them out. This is going to really help them out in terms of making sure that consumers, they have the taste and feel of the product and they want it again. Even if you see web series today, that's what they are doing to you. If you watch it on Amazon Prime and all, so if you see web series and all, what happens? So there will be 10 episodes or maybe 7 episodes, something like that. Do you watch it in one go? Your interest becomes so much that you wait for the second series. That, okay, when is it coming? If second series is coming, they will say that, okay, suspense is there, third is going to come, and so on. So they are also modifying their product. They are also creating the storylines around their product. So from the business point of view, don't just think from a product, see it from a broader perspective. Amazon Web Service, if Amazon Prime and all, if they're coming up with their own series and all, for them it's a product, right? and you're the ultimate consumer. You're consuming their product, right? So don't just restrict your imagination to a phone or an iPad. I mean, think beyond that. It could be a website, it could be a newspaper agency's business, their product and their portfolio, it could be a magazine, anything. So guys, you have to make sure that you split your product into iterations, right? Testing and modifying the created solution on the basis of real usage. So which means you have to test your product, you have to modify your solution that you've created on the basis of real usage and the user experience, right? So if your user is using your product, they have their own experience, they're going to share it with you. You will have the clear-cut idea about the user, their feedback. This will really help you improve. And this will really help you in terms of making your solution even better. So testing and modifying the created solution on the basis of the real usage and the feedback that you get from the target user is something which is going to make the things easier for you, something which is going to really take your product to the next level. So typically when you talk about the production design process, we have to ensure all these things. Now, if you talk about the 10 stages of the product development, the first one is obviously the brainstorming, where you think about the product and think about the idea that you want to implement. You defining the product, what it is all about, right? So you will define properly what that product is going to be all about, even if it is a cricket ball or maybe if it is a microphone. So you define clearly what your product will be, right? Once you're done with the product definition, you do the research job, right? Conducting the user research. What are the competitive products which are available in the market? Shortcomings of those products, what the user wants, what are the lacking points, what are the pain areas, what are the gray areas where you can work upon and all. Then you do some sort of rough sketching. Once you have the feedback with you, you do analysis of that, and then you create a rough sketch. You create a rough sort of a sketch of the product that you want to develop, right? And then maybe it can be taken to the CAD modeling stage where the proper 3D models can be created of that particular product. If it is a software product or if it is a service kind of a thing, then in that case you create mock-ups and all, right? So once it is done, then you start creating the prototype, right? So we discussed about prototype. I don't want to emphasize on this point because we have already spent a session on that specifically. Once you're done with the prototyping, once you know that okay, the functionality is perfectly fine, the proof of concept has been established, and now it's time where you should take it to the next level. What do? You convert the prototype into the product, right? So you have to do the compiling specifications, all the specifications of your product. You have to produce the factory samples, because whenever you produce any product and you have to produce it in bulk, you produce first samples, few samples, the factory samples. Okay. Once you are done with the samples will be tested and evaluated in the laboratory, right? You get the approvals and all. Then you start the production, which means a big job, the production, a mass production job, right? So after that, the testing is done, the accreditations are done. You come up with the production where you will be producing in bulk 30,000, 1 lakh, somewhere around that volume per day. Then you will provide the quality assurance, which means the quality check and the quality assurance certificate to your customer, right? So these are the typical stages which are involved in any product development. So right from brainstorming to the quality checks and assurance stage, each and every stage has got its own importance. And as a designer, as an innovator, as that you have good idea regarding all the stages so that you can channelize your energy in a proper way and you can actually involve your team in a proper way, in a scientific way, so that the chances of success in your startup journey, they become better, right? Because the painful area is the success of any startup. That's where the things are uh, improving, I would say, but they are not still the best. So we need to work a lot in this particular area, because we need to make sure that whatever we are trying to do, it ultimately leads to a good startup. It leads to a company which can sustain the business for a long time, right? So this is what we want, and we need to make sure that if the startups, they have a good know-how about the structured way of doing the things, then in that case the chances of getting a success are more. Yes, you have to do it organically. Yes, the raw talent is always something which we feel that can work in the market, but at the same time, if you know these steps, if you know these things, you can actually do your job in a systematic way. You can cross check how your project is going. Is it going at the right pace or not? Or in case there are certain shortcomings in your product, how you can improve that. So all these things are quite important. And as an innovator, as a designer, I think it is a responsibility of each and every individual to know what are the different stages, so that we can actually channelize the entire operation of the startup in a proper way. Okay. Moving further, I think the most important thing over here is how you're going to do the analysis, whether your product is good or not. So I recommend that always one should go for SWOT analysis. So SWOT analysis is what we call as strength, weakness, opportunity, and threat. So you need to make sure that whenever you have a product in hand, you do the SWOT analysis. So you should know that what are the strengths of your product, what are the advantages of your product as compared to the competitors which are available in the market. That is what we call as S, the strength area. Then you should also know the weakness. What are the disadvantages of your product? Every product will not be a foolproof product. You will know that, okay, if your product is good, but it has certain shortcomings, then you should also know where are those gray areas for your product, right? So you should know the shortcomings, the disadvantages of your product. Then comes the opportunity. What are the possibilities for the promotion of your product, right? Where is the market? Where I can go and sell this product? Where I can pitch in this product? And where will it get ultimately consumed? So the possibilities for the promotion of your product is something which we are looking at in O, that is opportunity. And last but not the least is the threat. What are the possible threats to the successful promotion of your product? Is it going to be the money or liquid funds that you will be having with you as a corporate? Then all these are the challenges and the threats for the successful promotion of your product. So you should know that what are the threats to your business. So ultimately, we can say that this SWOT analysis approach is going to be really handy for the startups, for the university students when they are committed to do a particular project. They should do the SWOT analysis because this is going to really tell them the exact position of their product in the market, their project in the market, and how they can take it to the production stage and take it to the ultimate consumer. Where is that market? What are the threats? What are the advantages? What are the shortcomings? So if you know all these things about your product and your ultimate idea that you want to take it to the market, you are in a good space. You will be able to take it to the market, right? So SWOT analysis is something which is quite important. And now let us finally discuss something which we all should avoid in the product development stage. That is the mistakes. The common mistakes which are committed by the startups, the common mistakes which we compromise with, right? So we should go about this particular slide in a point by point manner. Let's start. Compromising between the aesthetics and the functionality. No, sorry. You should not do any compromise between the aesthetics and the functionality. Functionality is important. Yes, your product has to function in a best possible way. Okay. But aesthetics, if you change too much on the aesthetic parts, then what will happen? You're going to make your product look ugly, though it is going to function perfectly fine, but your consumer is not going to pay the money to get it. If your aesthetics are looking good, which means from the outer shell, outer cover, it looks perfectly fine, great. But on the functionality part, if it lacks, then also your consumer is not going to give you money. Okay. So consumer is going to pay you for your service, for your product, if it has best aesthetics as well as all the needful functionalities. Okay. So you need to make sure that you don't compromise too much on these two aspects. Compromise between the aesthetics and the functionality. Okay. Next comes breaking the deadlines. I think we always do. When we design the strategy for any product to be taken to the market, we have certain timelines. So we keep certain timelines that, okay, I'm going to do the software writing part by this time, hardware I will be doing it this time, market serve this time, go to market strategy this timeline, and so on. But I mean, if you break it, if you just don't follow it, there is no reason. I mean, you will not fail, you will fail. So the thing is that the most important point that all of us have to adhere to is not to break the deadlines. If you keep certain deadline is deadline. You have to make sure that at any cost, you must make sure that you live up to the expectation, right? So there should not be any excuse. I mean, yes, the genuine reasons, maybe if your die manufacturer is delaying your product, ultimately, if you delay, nothing is going to happen. Ultimately, it will reflect in your balance sheet. You will not have good profits. And ultimately, if the corporate is not going to have the good profits, and if they are not earning money, they will not be able to pay to the employees. And if they are not going to pay to the employees, ultimately the entire business is going to suffer. Okay. So the thing is that once we set certain timelines, You have to adhere to it. Okay. Operating upon inaccurate project documentation. I think in university you see a lot this thing where they keep on telling you the instructors that okay, do the proper documentation, and as a student you may not take it seriously in one go. That documentation, fine, it is important, but we do reverse engineering sometimes. Okay, we do the project first and then we try to create the documentation around it. Huh? At times it happens, but yes, it should not be the way. You have to properly document it and organically do it, right? Operating upon an accurate document is something which is not going to take you anywhere. So you have to do step by step and do it in a proper way so that you follow the documentation and go according to the plan that you have chalked down for the project that you have in hand. Okay. Infringing on IP, another big point. Suppose you come up with a product and that product itself is a great idea, but at the same time, guys, that project is already developed by somebody who has got the patent and copyright for the same. If you come into the market, I think there will be a threat to you and your company. You can get infringed for breaking this IP law. And I think you must have heard about the fight between Apple and Samsung and the lawsuit which followed after that. So yes, there are a lot of important things that you need to know, and you must make sure that your product, whatever you're trying to do, is not infringing someone's IP, right? And there needs to be a strong check on this particular point, because somebody who has already done it, who has got the patent and copyright for the same, and try to make the same product and try to say that okay, this is my innovation and I have not copied it from anywhere. I have not seen any documentation from internet. This is my own idea. This is my own brainchild. This is not the way the market works. You have to see what is available, and if already someone is has developed that and you come up and say that okay, this is mine and this is my original idea, it is not fair, right? So you need to make sure that you know the IPs that are associated with that. You keep a check on the company's IP portfolio, the ones who are doing the same kind of thing. And there are proper softwares which are available which helps you to check the novelty of your innovation, novelty of your idea. And I think this particular aspect needs a special session, how to check the IP and how to ensure that you're not breaking any IP rights of anybody, right? So you need to make sure that you properly do a cross check on the IP part, and I think try to incorporate new points and new features into the product in case certain similarity is being found, so that your product itself becomes a novel one, right? So that's important. Apart from that, lacking ideas for future marketing is again dangerous. You should always have the marketing strategies well in place, and you should look at the customers' taste and requirement and see what is happening in the market, and accordingly design the marketing strategy and efforts. Okay, so you should be having enough ideas with you for the marketing and digital marketing and door-to-door marketing, whatever it is like required for your innovation and product to take to the next level. You have to make sure that you have everything checked. Failing to follow today's trend and innovation in business niche. So again, an important thing, the story of Nokia is known to everybody. It was not something which is a secret. Now everybody knows that okay, Nokia was the big brand at a particular time, mobile market, and everybody in your home, if they're of the age group of 40-45, ask them which phone they wanted early on. They will say Nokia phones, right? So it was a big brand at that point of time. Still, it is a big brand, but at the same time, when the market requirement and taste started changing, and the Android and iOS market was at its boom, they failed to at least keep up with the trend and the taste of the consumer. And what happened? The company was going into the backstage, and finally new companies came up, and Android iOS market was taken over by some other companies, and somehow the company was lacking in their efforts in terms of reinventing their product, and finally the results are in front of all of us. What happened, right? So now when you see the competition in the market for Nokia, it's immense. Already the market in the Android space and iOS space is captured by big players, right? So now it is becoming a threat for them to get into the friendly competition. But at that time when they were at its peak, they were on their peak. If they would have changed their strategy, if they would have come up with an Android phone at that time, then probably they would still be the front runners of the mobile market, right? So that's what the most important thing is. You have to change with the customer's requirement, and you have to tweak it a bit. You have to tweak your product a lot. Now when you see the mobile market, if you see the telecom market, you have Airtel, you have Vodafone, you have Geo. all of them are doing a great business. Why? Because all of them were able to adapt according to the requirement of the business, right? Requirement and the taste of the customer. So all of them are surviving somehow. Yes. And they are doing good, right? So as a startup, if you don't follow the trend, if you don't follow the customer's taste, you will be out of the race soon. Okay. Last is the reluctance to turn to the outside experts. And finally, the most common mistake, that is hoping to save money. The teams often try to do with the existing specialists by expanding their expertise and responsibilities, even if they had not previously had any experience. Okay. So what happens in a startup? You have only 3, 4 guys, right? So I told you parallelism is going to happen. So even if that person has not tried that thing in the past, you still will be asking them that, okay, boss, we don't have enough money, we don't have enough cash with us, we don't have the funds with us. What we want you to take on this job, do the marketing for our company. And if that guy has not done marketing in his entire life, how is he going to market your product? Same is the case with the designing. If that person has not designed the product in his life and you are asking him to design the product, what will happen? You will be out soon. So it is quite important, guys, that you give the job to the dedicated experts. Don't try to save your money by not involving the outside experts. If you feel that in-house expert is not available and we need an outsourcing, we need a guy from outside and he or she is going to help us out in terms of taking our product to the next stage, don't hesitate to do that, because ultimately the time is money. You are going to lose on time and you will be entering into a market at a later time. Maybe before that somebody else is going to come in with a similar idea and they will capture the market. So always, if you have a clear vision, clear idea, and the only thing which is stopping you is the requirement of the expert, and you feel that okay, the in-house expert is not available, go and hire the one. And in case the internal expert is available and they are not up to the mark, still I think the best option is to go forward and have somebody who is from the external fraternity, and if they can do the job for you and your startup can be brought into the market, great. And in the meanwhile, yes, you can give the journey to somebody in your team, that okay, fine, you want you to look at this particular job in a span of 6 months, but develop those skills over the period of time, see how the expert is doing, and once you're done, probably you can leave the outside expert and say bye bye to him and give the job to the internal expert, right? So that's important, and that's something which all of you should try. So these are the mistakes that you have to avoid when it comes to product development cycle. Okay. So this is the first deck which I wanted to share with you. So we have discussed a lot about the product development, the common mistakes and all. Now we are done with this. And as I told you, I'll be doing it in 2 steps. So I'll be now sharing with you the screen for the second slide set that I have for you. Allow me a couple of minutes to set it up. So now I will be sharing my screen, and just let me know once you can see that. Visible?
Yes, sir. Visible.
Great. So we are talking about a product called VT. That's a virtual exposure therapy product that we have developed. And this one is again from the student side. And we presented it to Accenture. So I just will take you to the entire journey. This is virtual exposure therapy. And this is a virtual reality based solution for the people who are suffering from phobia. So if you have the phobia of fire, if you have phobia of darkness, if you have phobia of water, then in that case, I think there is no scientific gadget which is available which can help you out in terms of coming out of that kind of a problem that you're facing. So generally, we have this. Somebody has a phobia of some animal. Somebody has a phobia of darkness or forest or light or darkness. I mean, there are different kind of phobias, right? So this is one thing which is not much talked about, but yes, there are people who are suffering from certain phobia related issues. So in USA, this is the statistics from WHO. 16.2 million people, they are suffering from phobia. Brazil 20 million, Pakistan 50 million, China 56 million, India 84 million. So you can see that the number of people who are having this particular disorder, I think globally it's a big problem itself, right? So this is a solution that we came up with. It's a virtual reality based solution that's called virtual exposure therapy. And this is a solution which is going to gamify the entire process. So if you have a phobia, we'll give you the platform, we'll give you the services. And what it does, it takes you into the phobia in a step-by-step manner. So what happens if you have the phobia of darkness? Then it is going to tell you certain exercises that you need to do in the virtual environment. And once you do those exercises, you will come out of that phobia. So level by level, it is going to increase, right? So level one will be like there is a key in the dark room. You have to take that key, open that door, and then walk out, right? So in the virtual environment, you have to do that exercise. And sounds will be coming at the back end, right? So once you wear that headset, it looks quite real, right? So you have to do that exercise in the virtual world. You have to pick up a key, you have to open a door, and suddenly some things will happen in the background. So that is going to scare you. But slowly, you have to take it up, right? So that phobia thing, you have to face it. That's one way of getting over that, right? If you want to go ahead and remove it from your mind, you have to do it step by step. So that's where this therapy is something which is going to come handy. So you have a solution which can be fitted easily. You may not need a big gadget. You can use a simple cardboard based beer glass and you can use it over there, right? So this was designed using Microsoft Azure Machine Learning Studio, web services, and Azure bot services, right? So what we have done, we have combined this gadget with this watch, which I showed you, I think, in the earlier session also. So we are going to measure your panic level. So your heart rate and your ECG, everything is going to be monitored, because if you are fearing something, your heart rate is going to go to a next level. So it is going to beat a lot faster. So we are going to monitor it, and accordingly, the contents, I would say, immersive behavior is going to change. So which means that if I'm going to give you a strong exercise and you're panicking a lot, then in that case, the level of the game will reduce automatically, right? So the task which you will see in front of you on the screen again will be of easier level. But if you're doing well and your heartbeat is not increasing too much, you're able to take it up slowly. The level is going to take up, right? So we have combined this particular technology together. So you have to just select the phobia, water, darkness, fear, and all, and then follow the therapy, right? So it was available on Oculus, and the app was again shared on the Play Store. I think the most important thing is that universally compatible with any phone or any headset that you have in the VR category, right? So $25 you need to pay, and you can get this particular service very easily, right? And we took this project to various competitions and got good acknowledgement. And with the experts, we got it tried. We tried it, and we got good results over there also. So this is an exact idea about the entire technology that we used, right? So on one side you have the business partners, the VR headset companies. So once you have a VR headset, then you have the services which are going to be offered by those VR gadgets. So you can have the subscription based services, which you can give to the hospitals, you can give it to the patients, right? So different models are available, B2B and B2C. So again, it was developed in collaboration with the experts. So yeah, this is one product portfolio that I wanted to show you in the virtual reality category for tackling the phobia issues, right? So again, the project from the laboratory by our student team that was represented again at various national and international project competitions, got acknowledgement in 2018 from Accenture as a Jury's Choice Award winner for this innovation. So yeah, this was one story where you know that okay, right from start there was a problem in hand, of phobia, and how the team was able to take it and come up with a solution and a product into the market, which can be now launched in the form of an application and a service which can be given to the hospitals and to the individual consumers. So one thing which will be there in your mind is what is happening with these innovations? Are they in the market or not? So guys, these are the ones which have been curated in the lab in 2018-19 time frame, and students, those who have worked on these innovations, now they are about to graduate. So soon they will be planning something big around these innovations, right? So entire things, the copyrights and the design patents and everything have been obtained by the people, those who were involved. And now to take it in the form of a startup, I think the phase is coming very soon, and we all are excited at Manavishna to see their journey from here onwards, because the initial promise is there. The proof of concept has been established, the product has been matured now, and the pilots have really have been done really well under the experts' guidance. And now it is all about scaling it up and taking it to the market so that it can be given to the bulk consumers, and ultimately it should benefit the human beings. So that's the most important thing, because the innovation itself has been designed in such a way that it should solve some purpose. It should solve some sort of a problem which is being faced not just by India but globally. So it is one of the attempts that we are trying to make to solve a very critical problem, and that is something which has a global nature rather than a regional nature. And I hope that in the next couple of years, some promising results are going to come up in the form of strong startups who are going to take these projects into the next orbit and next stage. So guys, with that, I'm done for the session, and now the house is open for the Q&A related to this particular session. Over to you guys.
So, dear students, would like to have ask questions? You're most welcome.
Yes,
From
sir.
Yes, please, sweetie.
Yes,
Please.
sir. Good afternoon, sir.
Very good afternoon.
So I have a question, that is, if I have an innovation and process, but I know there are few things lacking because everything can't be on point, right? So how should I influence my client or my senior for that project?
I think, as I have already pointed out, it's always done in an iterative way. You just cannot do it in one go. Iterations will be there. There will be certain things which will be perfect, and there will be certain things which needs iteration and which needs the entire team to sit around the idea again and brainstorm and come with the proper strategy. So even if you have a partial product ready, just do the evaluation. Just have some sort of a pilot survey done from the market, and if you get good results from the survey that you conduct, in that case, I think your senior, or if you have a team of people who are going to be the ultimate decision maker for your product, and with the stats that you will have, that will really help you out in terms of convincing them to take it up to the next stage. So I would recommend you to strongly do the market survey and see how it goes from there. So market survey is going to be the crucial thing for you.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Hello, sir.
Yes, Rajiv.
Sir, my question is, how can we finalize the product cost, final product cost? What are the parameters?
Great question, because that's where the problem is, that when we put up the costing, it's on the higher side initially, because we don't see at the bulk volume that we will be producing. So whenever we do the costing part, it is always on the basis of what is available in the market, the best possible quotations you try to give. But at the same time, as a student, you fail to tap in the volume market, because if you play with the volume and you produce in bulk, then in that case, the cost per piece will automatically come down. So you have to make sure that whenever you do the costing part, you take into consideration both the aspects. So keep in view the volume and the raw components, whichever will be involved in this particular product journey, the development journey, they will be there. The product cost will be there. But at the same time, I think the most important thing that you have to ensure is, if I go and do the bulk production, what will be the cost? Try to see that. Negotiate with the vendors from where you are taking the raw material, that, okay, I'm going to produce 1 lakh pieces. Give me the cost on the basis of that. Give me the cost on the basis of the production of 10,000 pieces. So when you give them the requirement in bulk, they are going to give you the cost in that way, right? So the cost of the overall product will always come down if you play with the volume, right? So whenever you are taking the costing into consideration, I'm sure that there will be some raw material which will be involved in the manufacturing. So once the raw material is involved, you will do the negotiation with the vendor from where you are arranging the raw material. And once you do that, I think you will get a great idea, right? How that cost is changing. So even if it is capped at, let us say, $100 initially, and if you do it in bulk, it may come down to $50 or maybe $10 or even less than that, right? So that's the important thing. A Bluetooth chip in the market is costing close to 250, 300 rupees in the market, somewhere around that. If you talk about a simple Bluetooth chip. But if you import it from the vendor directly and say that, okay, I'm going to give you the order for 10,000 pieces, he's going to say the cost is 20 rupees. So see the difference. So if you go for single purchase, you're going to pay for single chip as 250 rupees. And if you go for 10,000 purchase, he's going to say that, okay, 20, 30 rupees, not more than that. That's the difference. So play with the volume always and try to negotiate properly with the vendor from wherever you are taking the raw material. This is really going to give you a very good idea how much it can be brought down. And that's where it is important for you to have your B plan in place, the business plan, where you properly tabulate each and everything, right? So that serves your question, I believe, how you should approach the costing.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
So any more questions?
Yes, sir. Sir Ashutosh. Yes, sir. Sir, my question is that in less budget, how anyone can be able to do proper marketing of the product?
Not possible at all. Simple answer. Not possible at all. So the only thing is that if you are informed, if you know how marketing is to be done, today everything is digital, right? So you need not to go and give the postcard in the newspaper, or you need not to go and tell that, okay, we are selling this product and it should become the first.
Sir, mic mute, sir, please.
So it should not be. Obviously, we don't want it to happen. So what we want is like, if you know digital marketing, got it? If you know how to market your product on Facebook, Instagram, right? All these places, I think you're good to go. What is the budget needed over there? Yes, you need a budget for promoting it. The paid promotions, yes, paid promotions are there where you get the enough likes and views on your video, your product, and comments on your posts. You can do that. But if you can do it organically, there is no cost involved. But you should know that, okay, fine, the digital marketing involves you to create the digital assets, right? The flyers, the posters, the banners, the videos. If you're done with that, if you know how to do it, go ahead, do it. The sky's the limit. Nobody is asking you for money. The money is going to be coming into picture once you do it in a paid basis, right? So my suggestion is, if you have a startup, if you want to take it further, have a good course on digital marketing, know how to market it, know how Facebook marketing works, how Google marketing is going to work for you, have a basic understanding of Photoshop, Adobe Suite specifically, InDesign for designing catalogs, or maybe the Premiere Pro for video editing. Have some know-how, a basic knowledge. Once you have that, you need not to have a designer for you who's going to do the designing. You can do it yourself, and you can easily launch it in the market. And digital marketing, you can easily do that. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Anyone else?
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Sir, thank you, Dr. Umesh Dattaji. Thank you very much for being here and being a part of this 2 days student development program of the different phases of the prototype development. Thank you very much, sir. And there is an important announcement for the students, for the participants, that they are required to appear for the quiz in order to earn the e-certificates from the department, from the SSL. And they are also advised to fill all the feedback forms as it has been supplied to them through various links. Now I feel honored to welcome Dr. Sanjay Pachori, President, Institute Innovation Cell from IIMT College of Engineering, Greater Noida. Sir, thank you being a part of this event in the conclusion phase of this 2 days student development program, sir. Thank you very much and welcome on board, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Gopalakrishna and Dr. Seema Nayak. As well, I would like to welcome Dr. Umesh Datta, who is spared here very valuable time to illustrate and to demonstrate, illustrate and explain the various phases in a very simple manner. Actually, the very basic thing which is normally missed, but it was found in the Dr. Datta's presentation. I was going through a slide, mistakes to be avoided. This particular slide was over there. Few minutes back, approximately 15 minutes back, Dr. Datta was discussing about that particular mistakes which should be avoided while going through the prototype and all of these things. That is actually the crux to get a success of any of the small enterprises or your startup or whatsoever the enterprise you would like to start. I would like to thank Dr. Seema Naik as well to arrange such a renowned and such a learned speaker over the forum, over the platform, so that our students get benefited in real time. Thank you very much. Thank you, Dr. Gopal Krishna and Dr. Seema Naik.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Now, may I request our department HOD, Professor Dr. Seema Naik ji, to please present vote of thanks.
Thank you, Dr. Gopal. Very good afternoon to all of you. Respected President IIC Dr. Sanjay Pachori, our eminent speaker Dr. Umesh Datta, and our participants, dear students, faculty members. Okay, today we have completed our 2 days student development program on different phases of prototype development. And Dr. Umesh Datta has explained very beautiful manner the 4 session, problem recognition phase, idea validation, and the ugly prototype, that is nothing but the analysis of the product and the final product phase. And all the sessions were very informative and knowledgeable, and I think our participant has gained the knowledge from these sessions. I would like to thank our speaker for accepting my request and spare his valuable time with us and share his knowledge with our students. Also, I would like to thank our Honorable MD Sir for his consistent support and motivation. Again, I would like to thank our Director, Professor Dr. Gaurav Sinha, and President IIC, Professor Dr. Sanjay Pachori. And we have conducted this event online during this pandemic situation, and organizing such events online means technical support must be there, and without our web team it is not possible. And I would like to thank our web team for their consistent support. Again, thanks to our coordinator, Dr. Gopal Krishna, all the participants, all the faculty members, those involved in these events, and thank you very much. And again, once again, I thanks Dr. Umesh Datta for accepting my request, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
My pleasure. Glad to be on the platform.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thanks, sir.
Thank you, madam. Thank you. Thank you, one and all. Thank you very much. Thank you.